Hey there, CPO here, and it's time for another Bixler 2 build update. This thing is really close to be ready for a maiden. I have a couple things left to do to it. I'll show you what that is. But first I want to just give you an update of where I'm at. Before, when I last left, I showed you some of the work I was doing on the side port and the wings. The wings are now in. I did add more rare earth magnets to the wings, so I have essentially 4 magnets per wing, which gives me its total of 8 magnets in use. It's a pretty strong hold, so I think it's going to be just fine. I don't have any reason right now to believe I'm going to need anything else, but we will we'll know as we get into things. Right now, the airplane as it sits is being balanced on its balance point. The center of gravity is right at 70 millimeters from the leading edge of the wings. And I am on a run what you brung sort of a balancing mechanism here, which I'll show to you. But it worked out really great for me. I had it on hand, didn't have to buy or build anything. But it's going to look a little bit odd to those of you who are used to the more traditionally built balancing methods. But anyway, so this is it. Just sitting on its balance point. Have everything ready to go. Took a look at the motor thrust line, and I think we're all set. So let me give you just a quick walking tour. So right away you might notice I've added a pilot to the build. This is Tux. I'm kind of a Linux throwback guy, so I had this Tux little foam guy sitting around from a tech conference or something I've been to. It's been sitting in my home office for a long time. So I added him into the mix, and you can see he's just kind of, his body's cut and just glued in underneath that plastic canopy. So I like him. I think it's nice to have a pilot. That'll probably get replaced with FPV gear at some point, but for now, he's driving the ship. I did get my ESC Velcroed in. Basically, have Velcro top and bottom, and then it's stuck, stuck down. So it's should be good to go. And then motor wires run right back there. You can see them. I did make sure that the motor was spinning in the correct direction, but should I ever need to change that, I can get to those motor wires without separating the fuselage. And then there is my motor on the Hobby King extended motor mount, which, as mentioned previously in the build log, has an angle which is supposed to maintain the proper thrust angle. And as you can see here from the side, it does look to be the case. So you can see where I have my pivot point, which is where the center of gravity is, hits the wing right here. And then if you can see the line that the motor makes, and yeah, I'll probably put it on the screen for you so you can see it. That does look like it's going to have a good thrust angle for the plane. So while I'm down here, I'll show you my little balancing apparatus here. A little non-conventional. It's actually a guitar stand. So let me show that to you. So this is what it looks like with the plane gone. Basically, it's a 3-legged guitar stand. I'm a guitar player, so I have a few of these laying around. And then this is the bottom piece where the guitar would rest. It's actually would go. The whole stand would end up looking like this on the ground. The guitar would rest here with the neck of the guitar here. So basically all I did is had this little end table with no glass that made a perfect little mounting platform. And all I did was use the legs to kind of clamp it, and then let this be the point at which the plane rests on. As it turns out, there's just enough room for the fuselage to go through here so that these 2 points can just rest right there. And works out really well. And oddly enough, it works out even better because this little back piece here, where the guitar neck would actually rest when it's standing up, is a little safety catch for the tail of the airplane. So when it's perfectly balanced, it hovers over that but doesn't touch it. But if something happens, it'll just fall back and settle into there. So I don't expect people to go out and buy a guitar stand to balance an airplane, but since I had one laying around, it basically solved my problem of what I was going to do was build one, and this kind of solved the problem. So it doesn't matter that these 2 points aren't straight up and down. All that matters is there's a balance point for the plane to rest on, and it's just got these little rubber tips on there. So as I set the plane back down, as I mentioned, I've got reference marks for the 70 millimeter mark. Basically, the leading line on these tape strips are what I did, where I measured 70 millimeters, and then I just line that up so that they rest that point on the plane. And then there we go. And you can see, how the back actually floats over that that part of the stand. So when it's balanced, it hovers. But if I have the weight too far back, it just rests on there. So it's kind of cool. And actually, whenever I found out that whenever I want to leave it and I don't want it balanced, it actually makes a pretty good little plane stand. I can just take it, set it back, and rest it just like that. And it keeps the plane safe, holds it in place, and kind of cool actually. So it's a guitar stand. You can get them. I got these at Guitar Center. I usually, when I buy a guitar, I get them to throw them in, but they're probably like $10 or so at Guitar Center. So I might actually adopt this for full-time use, and what I would do is get rid of this mount on the end table and find a way to have it permanently affixed, maybe to a plywood base or something. But that's the stand, and that's what I'm using to balance with, and it works great. So I guess the moral of this story is use what you've got. Be creative, look around, and see if there's something that is already existing in your home that you may be able to put to work here. So I'll show you the wings, how I have this set up. This is a pretty tight fit, but as soon as I break it free, it comes off nice and easy. And I'm just going to pull it apart enough to show you the magnets I have on one side. That way I don't have to pull all the wires out. So hopefully you can see here where I have the magnets. There's these 2 black sheets which had 4 holes in them, and basically I filled up 2 of the holes with magnets on either side, and then the opposite on the other wing. I like this because the magnets, they're strongest pulling up and down. But if I put all 4 of them in that configuration, it'd probably be really hard to get apart. So this allows for them to be released from a side pull, which is actually easier to release. And then these little plastic tabs here hold the magnet in place because it rests against the side of it. So that action of pulling that apart won't just separate it from the foam if the magnet pull is stronger than the connection. But once I get them locked in there, it feels really snug, and I'd be surprised if that's going to come out in flight at all. But I'm going to keep an eye on it. I know a lot of people have done the magnet mod and didn't trust it and ended up reinforcing with Velcro. I really wanted to just try and see if I can do it just with the magnets because I like the simplicity of it. All right, and while we're in here, here's the side port. Again, I showed the mechanism for attaching that, also with these rare earth magnets in the last video update I did. But that is really working out well. Holds in nice and snug. And I really like it. So actually, I was thinking about it, and the way I have it cut, and you have to go look at the other video to see it. Oh, heck, maybe I'll pull it apart. I don't know. But the way I have it cut is such that it really does not freely come out or go in. It takes a little bit of work to get it out or in, which makes it, in my opinion, a little bit more secure. So one thing I also have done recently, and I'll flip the plane over so you can see that, I added tape to the bottom of the fuselage. It's not super pretty, not designed to be. Just basically reinforces that whole area there. You know, I was kind of torn on this. There's that little plastic protective piece right there. I was trying to decide if I wanted to put that under or over the tape. I put the tape down first to get a nice good seal against that EPO, and then I basically just glued that on top. My guess is it'll probably come off the first time I land, but I'm not too concerned with it. I'll keep a watch on it, and then I also added this back cap piece. I used the Gorilla Glue, the white, so it expands a little bit and kind of fills up a little bit of some of that space. But anyway, that's probably the only thing. Oh, and when I put the two fuselage halves together, I did add in a 3mm carbon fiber rod, the solid rod, in place of the previous rod that was there. I think it was a 2mm tube or something, or maybe it was a 3mm tube. Either way, I used a solid piece of rod, the same thing that I used in the tail mod. So what do I have left to do? Well, I still need to set my control rods to proper distance. These are just kind of set in there right now. I have my control rods set through on the servo arms, which, by the way, I am on the second from the top servo arm, and I had to drill this out a little bit. These servo arms that come with these servos had little tiny holes. So I drilled it out so that the rod would fit in there. Hopefully that's not too loose. It's got a little bit of slop in it, but we'll see if that's going to bite me in the future. But I went the second one down because if I put it in the top one was so close to the edge, it made me nervous that it was just going to snap off. So I wanted to give it a little bit of meat around it. And then I'll probably go on the second from the top on the horns, keeping in mind that the further out you go, so that the top one is more tame than going close down to the foam, which is less tame for controls. It's a little bit more throw to it with the movement of the servo arms. And then I do have, this is shrink tubing, that once I get the distances set up to where everything, when the rod is at 90, and get this flat plane with the wing, and I'm pretty sure everything's all set, I will shrink this tubing down to kind of hold that clevis there. It seems to be a problem people are facing with those popping off. So all of them are going to have shrink wrap, shrink tubing on them. All right, so here's a look at the side port. And basically you can see I have this little corner that's free here. I can pop something in there to free that one magnet, and then that frees the other one, and then the thing pops off. So inside there, you can see basically my receiver is back here in the back, velcroed on, so that I can move it. I've got my little wire, servo wire bundle. I got a lot of servo wires, but right now there's nothing preventing me from leaving them like this, and I can trim them down later if I decide I need to. And then I have my two mounting points. That's all I have back here. That's it, really. So eventually that will probably change, but for now, that's it. And then I'll show you as I put this thing on. Again, I've got the magnets that mount up against these magnets, and just a little bit of finagling to get it in there. Probably the hardest part is getting this bottom. And then it just clips into place, and there it is. It's locked in. So I think that's pretty awesome. By the way, you can see how versatile this guitar stand is, because now I've got the plane sitting at a essentially nearly a 45-degree angle. So I don't know. It turned out to be pretty cool. I may just keep it like this on the end table. Let me show you the inside underneath the cockpit. By the way, I did have a lot of touch-up to do. Not a lot, but I had some touch-up to do. For example, this little seam here where the two pieces of the fuse glued together, that glue right there at the edge was white. I had a couple nicks and dings that turned white in several places. What I did is I just took that spray paint, the same paint I used to paint everything. Instead of going and trying to spray paint or anything, I sprayed a little bit into a plastic cup and took a little paintbrush and just painted those dings. But the first time I fly this thing, it's going to get beat up pretty bad, I'm sure. So just pull this canopy cover with my pilot out, tucks. So let me show you what I have in here. You can see, in order to get my center of gravity the way I want it with this particular setup, I've got two batteries. I did build a Y cable for parallel battery connection. Being a parallel connection, the negatives from each of the batteries come together into one common negative to the ESC, and same thing with the positives. The two positives come together in a single positive to the ESC. That's it. Basically, the two batteries will plug in right there, and then this will plug into the ESC, just like that. So one battery is back here. It's Velcroed to the bottom so that I can adjust it as needed, as my CG needs change. And then I have the other battery tucked way up into the nose. I don't know if you can see it in there, but it's all the way pretty much up front. So I've got plenty of room for other stuff in here, obviously, and with my CG the way it is, being right now very tail heavy, when I get into a situation where I want to start adding equipment, whether it be FPV equipment or cameras or what have you, I should have plenty of room from a CG perspective to move things around. I do plan on using one of these. It's basically just a low voltage alert. So I'll show you how this thing works. So basically this just tells me the voltages of the individual cells, 3.81, 3.82, 3.81. Total voltage of this battery is 11.4. And then that alarm sound and flashing light is what's going to happen when I hit the low voltage alert. So what I'm hoping is that even in flight, reasonably close to me, I should be able to hear that sound. So for now, I'm probably just going to Velcro this maybe to the top of this battery right here, just so that I can have it in the plane. I was trying to think of if I wanted to put it, pop it up in the cockpit, or have something where I can see it visually from the outside. But I'm going to try first to leave it inside and then see what happens there. The only other thing I plan on adding is this is a number 808 number 16 cam. This is the 720p version with the D lens, 120 degree lens. I'm going to mount that somewhere. I have no idea where yet. I'll have to play with angles and see what I think is interesting, whether it be a wing mount, tail mount, or a nose mount, or probably a bazillion places all in between. But that's, right now, the only thing left is... actually, the only thing left is getting my control surfaces set up. And then I will probably do a unpowered trim test, just a glide test like they showed in one of the videos that I've seen recently, where I'll just toss the plane and check and see how it trims without power, and go from there. So I'm saving my maiden flight for my buddy who's in Israel. He's my pastor. He's over in Israel right now, and I'm very interested in him being a part of the maiden flight. So he comes back next week, which means even if I'm ready to go this weekend, I'm not going to be doing a maiden. But I'm hoping to get everything out of the way so that when he does come back, all we have to do is worry about is getting the thing in the air. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions or you see anything that gives you concern. This is my first plane build ever. So, always welcome the suggestions, and I've employed a lot of them that have already been provided to me. But if you see something that I'm totally missing, don't feel bad about telling me. I would much rather know what I'm doing wrong if I've done something wrong, and then I'll share it back out with other people, because as I'm learning things, I'm trying to share that with other new builders, and hopefully we can all do things smartly. So at any rate, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.